So it looks like Apple's product roadmap for their Mac lineup has actually been recently revealed, and it's much bigger, but also much stranger than originally anticipated. Because I feel like we've gotten pretty good at understanding which laptops are getting which chipsets and kind of the progression of going from M1 to then M1 Pro, M1 Max, and M1 Ultra, and then with the subsequent chipsets after that all the way to what we currently have with the M5 chip. But things are shaping up to be much more different, and while it's good to kind of see what the lineup has in store, it's also extremely confusing for the consumer which laptop or which piece of Mac product is actually going to be better than the other one. So let's break things down as easily and as simply as possible so you have a strong understanding on which Macs are coming with what chipsets and also what eventually you should look out for your current needs. Let's get into it. But now before we continue, if you guys do enjoy videos like this one where we talk all things Apple, consider subscribing to the channel and help us get to 1 million subscribers by the end of the year. So to briefly break everything down and give you guys an at-a-glance look, for the next maybe 6 to 9 months, so late 2026 to early 2027, we should see a new entry-level MacBook Pro with the M6 chip, new iMac models, a redesigned 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro, which could be that MacBook Ultra actually, OLED displays, touchscreen support, and then of course the M5 Pro and the M5 Max chips, according to this report that we're mentioning. And you might have noticed if you go out to try to buy a new Mac Mini or maybe even a Mac Studio or an iMac, they're back ordered for 10 to 12 weeks at a time. And that could be the RAM shortage and the storage shortage and things that are happening, but it could also mean that Apple's working on updating those pieces of hardware relatively soon, especially that Mac Mini that hasn't seen an update in almost 2 years. So let's start off with the entry-level M6 MacBook Pro, which again is going to be a little bit confusing because the M5 MacBook Pro recently released, and that's going to be the entry-level version that we currently have. But this one will replace that entry-level M5 MacBook Pro, and it would retain the kind of familiar design that we've seen. So this wouldn't be the Ultra redesign or anything crazy like that. It'll be the same form factor, the same size and everything, just with an M6 processor instead of the M5. But what's confusing is that according to this report, Apple could release the base MacBook Pro with M6, but then have the more expensive OLED models with the M5 Pro and the M5 Max chips. That means that the cheaper MacBook Pro could technically have the newer generation chip than the more expensive brother, which is going to be that MacBook Pro Ultra, whatever they're going to call it, with the M5 Pro and the M5 Max. So this is where it gets a little bit iffy as a consumer because newer doesn't always mean better performance, especially in the world of Apple when you have the M5 lineup with the M5 Pro, the M5 Max, and eventually the M5 Ultra. Again, that Ultra chip is going to be much more powerful than just a regular M6 chip. So that should be on your radar in terms of understanding for the rest of 2026 and early 2027. And then of course we have that big upgrade that we've mentioned in the past before, which is going to be the revamped OLED touchscreen MacBook Pro or MacBook Ultra. I'm not going to go too in-depth in here. I'll leave a link down below to my video talking all about this one, but it's basically an OLED display giving you touchscreen support. It's going to be a thinner chassis, so this is going to be an actual redesign to the MacBook Pro or MacBook Ultra, whatever they're going to end up calling it, with the possible late 2026 release date. And the big thing with this one is, of course, going to be that OLED display and then the kind of shift into touchscreen Macs, which is something that Apple has sworn off for decades, saying that the Mac wasn't meant to be touchscreen. But again, I've mentioned in the past that these operating systems are converging into one operating system, and touch targets are getting bigger even in the Mac OS ecosystem. So Apple's kind of prepping everybody from a behavioral science standpoint and helping them understand that, especially if you're a current iPad user, everything's going to look familiar across the board from a hardware perspective. So just adding touchscreen isn't going to be that far-fetched, and it's not going to be a broken solution like Windows and Microsoft has had for years, where they basically just add a touchscreen to a device that isn't meant for touchscreen. This is going to be giving you the best of both worlds because the touch targets will be optimized for touch as well as point and click. Very similar to how maybe most people use the trackpad as well as a mouse to kind of dual control your macOS system. It's going to be the same idea: mouse, trackpad, and touch sensitivity. But now, again, the biggest question mark here is going to be the OLED Mac using the M5 Pro and the M5 Max chip. Because Apple's already released the M5 Pro and the M5 Max, so launching a dramatic new design later with those same chip families would be very unusual, especially because at this point, it is reported that the M6 MacBook Pro will already be out. But the main reason here and what we're understanding in terms of why this is happening is because Apple's been in development with these OLED touchscreen panels already for years, meaning that they're kind of purpose-built with the M5 chip and the M5 Pro and M5 Max in mind. And again, that's why I think Apple's going to market this as a completely separate category of MacBook. They're going to call it the MacBook Ultra. It's going to be this ultra high-end, ultra expensive, ultra kind of bleeding edge when it comes to what the MacBook can do. And that's why they're going to be able to justify and be okay having an older chip, even though it's going to be much more powerful than the newer M6. An M5 Pro is going to run circles around an M6 chip. Same thing with the M5 Max. So it's just a matter of how Apple's positioning this to us moving forward. And then if we follow on with that trajectory of this roadmap, it looks like Apple will then bring that redesigned chassis, the one that they're putting with the touchscreen OLED, the one that's going to have the M5 Pro and the M5 Max. That redesign will then trickle down into a new M7 MacBook Pro. So again, follow along here. I'm going to try to help connect the dots. The M6 MacBook Pro will have the normal current design language, and then the M7 MacBook Pro will have the new one because it'll be a cheaper device than the MacBook Ultras of the world, but it'll bring that new housing into the cheaper model probably in 2027. My advice is that if you are holding onto an M1 Pro or M2 Pro MacBook Pro and they're still working fine and you can get your work done on them okay, I say hold on to them, and it could be worth holding out for this new OLED MacBook because A, to see exactly what it's all about and see if it's going to be worth your money, but then also it'll allow you to make a better educated decision moving forward, because you'll still be able to get the M5 Pro and M5 Max chips in a different Mac if you don't want to go for that ultra high-end OLED panel. And then again, in typical Apple fashion, when they start to put ultra high-end specs on their higher-end products or more expensive products, eventually they will trickle down to their cheaper products. So there is going to be a new MacBook Air in 2027, but in terms of getting an OLED panel, Apple's going to hold off on that for probably another year. So you're looking at about a 2028 release for MacBook Air, which I know it sounds like it's far away, but 2 years goes by like that, and the older you are, the faster it goes. So if you do want to hold out for an OLED type of MacBook Air so Apple can bring that cost down from a distribution standpoint, then you'll be able to get the OLED panel on probably a future 2028 MacBook Air, but Apple will still give us an internal spec bunk version of a new MacBook Air in 2027. And then of course you have the MacBook Neo 2, which is the last one we're going to talk about here. This one's also going to be an internal spec bump type of addition for the MacBook Neo 2. We're going to go from the A18 Pro to the A19 Pro internally. The addition of 12 gigs of RAM in there so it can handle a lot more Apple Intelligence tasks and Siri AI tasks. And again, this is going to be the lower price MacBook Neo, and it should remain at $699 for the time being, but let's see exactly how that ends up shaping up over the next couple of years. And then lastly, I do want to bring up the Mac Mini one more time here because this one's going to be, again, in that kind of confusing middle ground where there'll be an M6 Mac Mini, but then there's also going to be an M5 Pro Mac Mini coming out where the M5 Pro Mac Mini is going to be the more powerful of the two, but it's still going to be an older chipset. But because of how it's built and the additional GPUs and CPU cores and everything that comes with the M5 Pro, it's still going to be faster and more powerful than the M6 Pro. And the M6 Pro will be cheaper overall, but it'll have the newer generation of chips. So again, let's see how Apple ends up kind of selling this to us. And I'm sure they're going to put graphs all over the place comparing it to all different models and these kind of ambiguous things to look at. But that's going to be the way that it's going to end up shaping up moving forward with the Mac lineup. And then like I mentioned, you guys saw the Mac Studio is 10 to 12 weeks backordered right now, and that definitely has something to do with the RAM shortages, but also because Apple's working on the new M5 Max and M5 Ultra Mac Studio, which is going to be ultra powerful moving forward. It's going to be for those bleeding edge people that need as much power as possible. These things will be expensive. They will be very customizable in Apple's customization situation. Of course, when you get it in hand, you can't really customize it too much, but that is good to know that it will be coming moving forward. So if you are somebody that has a Mac Studio, or maybe you're looking for one right now, I would say hold off for a little longer because Apple should be releasing something with the Mac Mini and the Mac Studio relatively soon. So that's everything we have so far with Apple's Mac roadmap. There's a lot to know here, right? You have the OLED touchscreen MacBooks, you have the MacBook Air, the MacBook Neo, you have the M6 MacBook Pro, which is going to be different than the OLED MacBook Pro or MacBook Ultra, and then you have the Mac Mini and the Mac Studio and everything that comes with that. So there's a lot to look forward to in the Apple world. It's just going to get a little confusing, and I'm curious, again, to see how Apple markets this to us moving forward because it should be simple. Again, I'm a fan of having a lot of options and variations and different nuance depending on what you need, but sometimes a lot of options within the same category of product gets a little bit confusing, but Apple is now creating that price ladder where you can start off walking into an Apple store looking at a $699 MacBook Neo and then some way somehow end up with a $10,000 MacBook OLED Ultra with touchscreen, because the price ladder is going to be so crazy moving up that you're only going to see $200 to $300 to $500 increments in terms of jump in a price point where eventually you do get to that much higher MacBook Pro. But let me know in the comment down below what you think. Does this just confuse you even more so in an already kind of confusing MacBook Pro lineup or MacBook lineup in general? So always curious to know your thoughts, and I'm curious to know if you're holding out for a touchscreen MacBook and what you see those use cases being moving forward. But that'll do it, everybody. If you made it to the end, leave a little dolphin, and if you guys want to watch more videos like this one, check out one of these videos right here. Until next time, I'm Fernando. Peace, everyone.